Probably a little late on this one. Oldest had to start a new job. 6 a.m. this morning had me up, and then I fell back asleep. Golden State, Minnesota, Friday night. Little did we know, man. You think, oh, Karl Anthony Towns. Okay, Minnesota not playing with anything. You know, but there's been a new opponent introduced to the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference. I had brought it up a few games ago. It's those referees, y'all. The usual suspects in the starting lineup for us. They're down Derrick Rose, Covington, Teague. This is a makeshift lineup. They still have their two young supposed stars. Early on, Dario Saric is a nice player in that acquisition from Jimmy Butler. They doubled down on Cat, and Saric makes them pay with the three ball. I know I always say, let's not make it about the referees, but we've got to just point out how the game developed. Right there, there's a no call, right? There was a lot of block charge calls, non-calls in this game. Here's the little curl and the roll, and Boogie's going to score. But I point that out. All right, that's how they're calling it. Boogie's like, you ain't going to call that? Okay, fine. This is what I love about Klay, and as he ages, he's going to be able to abuse in big boy these little guards that switch on him, and he continues to do so. Now, remember when we played them about a week or so ago, DeMarcus wasn't in that matchup, and Karl Towns is his fellow alum from Kentucky, and there's some extra juice, and there's kind of a big brother thing he's got going on with him. Listen to Draymond. Encouraging Durant to do what he do. Steph would do what he do early on as he continued his flow from the previous game with the three ball, gets one in the corner. Sarge is a tough matchup because of his size. He's a 7-footer, he can shoot, he can kind of rumble to the basket. So if you have to close out on him, he can make you pay. So we remember the non-call early on with Boogie and Cat right on the other end. Here's the same play, and that's a blocking call on DeMarcus. But despite him not getting the favorable whistle, he really owned the matchup throughout this game. You see Sarge switched on him, but he's patient. He splits and squeezes it up in really what was a triple team. And more KD commanding the offense. Watch him call Boogie over to the post and feed the big man who he's just all in. Towns doesn't like physicality, you know, and especially there's not too many guys that are stronger than him in the league. And then he's his senior at Kentucky. So, but more Durant, and watch him just pointing. Look at him, get out, clear out. I think he's really enjoying directing the offense. It makes him feel like he's running shit, to be frank. Shout out my guy on Twitter that said that the Warriors came out 7 minutes before the game and were just shooting around, joking. Why? Tell me this though. Why does Boogie run like a fat lady? When look at him scramble like a fat lady, but he scrambles and picks up the ball, and then the extra pass from Klay gets Steph his second corner three ball in that exact spot. So apparently they barely warm up pregame. They were at the Twins opening day the other day. I'm not so sure how serious they took this trip to Minnesota. Iguodala, he gets racked on the way up, and he's telling the ref, like, hey, he's like, you can't be serious. And we know just from character, Iguodala's not too much of a complainer, right? Like, if he's going to stop and talk to you, he probably got hit. So Gordy Zhang, I think what's happening here is Minnesota knows as an organization they're kind of soft with Wiggins and Towns, right? And so Zhang and some of these other guys are being coached up to kind of play a little nasty, Okogie, right? They're trying to coach up some attitude into this young Timberwolves team, and KD with a smirk on his face is here for all of it. And let's keep it real, Zhang looking like the first man ever. I love this split dribble from Steph here, but then you're going to see Zhang recover. And I never really understood why he fell out of the rotation. I think he's a nice modern day big. Maybe it's his motor or work ethic. And one thing Minnesota has going for them is length and athleticism. Zhang, Wiggins, Towns. You saw us second guess some of our shots. Watch Professor Wiggins just leave Steph wide open for the three. Or shit, maybe Bayless could have used some of that brain power, but Steph had it going. You're going to see him hit his fourth three of the first quarter, third from that spot. And then the enigma that is Andrew Wiggins. Every about 10 days or so, he has a performance where you're like, oh, damn, this dude really could have been an all-star, right? And of course, on this night, it was one of those games where he just couldn't miss, had the mid-range, the three ball going, and then closed the quarter left hand like Ginobili. Woo! You don't see Andre break the left hand out often, but that was such a clear path. I think he was comfortable. DeMarcus, hand show. Strips and rips, we get out in transition. And like I said, I like the way Iguodala was running up and down the floor and finishing in transition. Now, I think DeMarcus had a great impact on the game, but he was 4 of 13 shooting. And you want to talk about getting to your spots, right? Let me hold it right here. Now that right foot needs to be above the box for the drop step so you have room. He didn't quite get to his spot. So you see when he drop steps, he doesn't have the angle at the rim. I felt like a lot of his offensive shortcomings in the paint were he didn't quite get to his spots. Good physicality from the Wolves helped that as Tolliver. He would have been a nice buyout option the way he pours the three down and then the relationships he has on this team. KD, mind made up, he's passing the ball. Mind made up, he's passing it. More big bro, little bro with these two, DMC and Towns. And guys don't usually like players that match their attributes. And Towns usually can overpower. There's a good improv pass to Okogie, but Boogie was really just unmovable in the paint. And man, I would love to see more of this often. S-Dot putting it on someone's head top because he's so capable of doing it. Perhaps that knee injury is why he doesn't look to finish so emphatically at times, but he's so capable of doing it. Durant out in transition. That was patience. That was accuracy. That was growth in transition for him. That's where he usually struggles passing. Towns 5 of 17 on the night, and it felt like none of them were made against DeMarcus. And then Durant's eyes got big with the rookie switched on him. He hits him with the Smitty. The little fake spin, drives baseline, finishes over the top with the length. And then how many times have we seen this season? Durant actually comes out of the right shoe. It looked like he rolled the ankle bad, but thankfully those shoes have such bad lockdown. It's like his toe caught and then his whole shoe came out. So it looks like he actually hit his hip and his ankle was just fine because by the time he went down, you see his foot's all the way out of his shoe. If his foot was still in his shoe and his shoe did that, initially I was like, oh, that's a bad roll, right? But Durant, very durable. Hopefully he gets out of those 11s as soon as possible. Steph, split-legged three, got it. Here's the thing with Wiggins. 3 of 8 from downtown, 2 free throws attempted on the night. With his physical profile, that's just unacceptable and just speaks to his low IQ. Steph, again, splitting the trap and the kick out as we went on a run here to close the half in championship form, and I think it made him a little too comfy. You could argue Minnesota really played the better first half, or at least matched them in the first half, and then there was this run, and Clay, a very Clay-like game, 8 of 18, 20 points, just within the flow of the offense. But it was almost like a false sense of safety, how easily they grew the lead here to close the half. KD, the extra pass. Hey, it's a higher percentage shot. It still feels a little unnatural that he passes that up. Steph rewards him, though. Third quarter, they go to DeMarcus as they usually do early on. That's become the new kind of scripted play, and he rewards them with the little step-through move. But not only did he slow him down offensively, though, he got him in foul trouble. And so you feel like, oh, we're in good shape against the Wolves if Cat's not scoring and he's in foul trouble. That means you're executing priority 1 on your game plan against this team. But it was this third quarter, we came out with just less energy. And like I said, Wiggins decided to play on this night, and he was getting buckets. So Kerr with an early timeout off that switch. You're going to see Durant come down, and this is when he wants a foul. He loves to go hard left and reach back with the right. He usually gets an and one out of it. But it really just felt like the Warriors were thinking about getting out of cold-ass Minnesota. Josh Okogie had himself a night, y'all. 41 minutes, 21 points, 4 steals, very physical. Remember, I had brought up when they traded Butler, like, this kid's ready. Sure enough, he was. Look at Boogie. Look at this call. This is a call on DeMarcus. That's a foul on DeMarcus. I think he has the most to complain about against any of these things. And then a sequence of turnovers and Minnesota capitalizing on them, and they were right back in this game. Obviously, trying to clinch home court here. Kerr kept using timeouts. If you look at the minutes played and the timeouts used, you would think that this game meant something to them, but you're going to see Steph here. He's just playing with the ball too much. And it happens to all of them, but there was a sequence here where you could tell Steph was just really no longer engaged in the game. He had hit his 4 or 5 threes. He felt like, all right, we're going to cruise to another win, and he probably should have thought that. But then you see the rare kind of positive death reload from Steph. And again, that goes to the length and athleticism of this Minnesota team, and they push the ball back. And it's that time of year where these teams with nothing to lose, all of a sudden their shooting percentage goes up. And then you're going to see Zhang tie things up here as the third quarter winds down. For whatever reason, Kerr tightened the rotation in this. McKinney only 6 minutes. Maybe it was that boneheaded pass. And then another bang, bang block charge call goes in Minnesota's favor. And Steph, the frustration starting to build. Minnesota was attacking Boogie in pick and rolls, knowing he was going to drop and help was coming, and then they were making an extra pass, and it was working. I thought we kind of stayed to that strategy too long. Here's Boogie's 5th foul. It's a touch foul late on the elbow. It's a tough call, man, if you consider the physicality, because here he comes down on the other end, very physical, and there is no whistle. It is what it is. You guys can interpret it how you want. I feel like I've got to show it. The injustice. Iguodala. And what was interesting is Barnett said that he called that found money, right? Do you think that's found money when Iguodala hits a wide open corner three? Because I feel like he needs to hit that. I don't think it's found money. I think he needs to knock that down. KD, you know, he comes back in this new rotation and he creates a play and gets Quinn a corner three ball. And I was curious to see like how aggressive he would get offensively, knowing we were down at this point. Offensive rebound, and Boogie fouls out. And to be fair, he wasn't completely vertical, right? The arm came down at an angle, at about a 20-degree angle, but that's number 6. And I feel like we haven't seen Boogie ever get the benefit of the doubt on a call yet, and I guess his reputation just precedes himself. Watch Bogut here. Bogut's confused. They're running head knock. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's out of sorts, and it kind of just ruined the flow of this offensive set. And so this was the first minutes Bogut played all game. And, you know, he was in there defensively to try to contain Towns. And then you get a 5-second call here on this inbounds. And that call, that is on the other 4 guys. That's not on Sean. That means the other 4 guys weren't working hard enough, I think, to get the ball in. But the fact of the matter was that Bogut just didn't seem quite ready to get thrown into this game. I don't think he expected to play. And then you see Draymond get smoked by Bayless. So they had to get Bogut out of here. Look at this offensive possession. It was crowding and mucking things up, and they had to go small. But the problem with that is now you got to switch on Towns, and he's going to get ultra aggressive. On the first possession, it actually works in their favor as Clay, I think he likes trying to, you know, battle with these bigs when he gets the switch, but size is size, and at some point the help needs to come. But initially, they say Towns was dislodging Clay. I don't know what. Some of these calls are just, I don't even know what to say. So death lineup in, space back. Clay knocks down his 3rd of the night. The problem now with not being able to guard Towns one-on-one was the help. And the help wasn't communicating well. That time, Steph gets caught with his pants down, getting out to the corner. And at this point in the game, I think everybody was kind of waiting for Steph to get aggressive. And when would that come? Here's a little pick and roll. Look at KD hold the screen and then knock the 3 down. So you know it's going to go to one of these 2 guys, but both of them being so passive at certain points in this game. And this is where Towns was empowered. He knew Boogie wasn't coming back in. Bogut was out of the game, and he was just big boying us in the paint and forcing us to send a bunch of help. Off this, Draymond, come on, man. Go back up, Draymond. I've been applauding his aggression at the basket. Just go back up there. You're going to shoot free throws. Now here's to where KD and Steph need to communicate better. KD needs to come over and help. He's the big. He needs to come over and protect the paint. Let Steph stay on the perimeter. Steph comes over. KD falls asleep, and it's a baseline dunk. But you know the chef loves the dramatics, the heroics. So he pulls the 3, 2:15. We're like, okay. Steph gonna start shooting. Then Clay, close out across the body. That's a foul. I don't really have anything to complain about that. He got up in his airspace. We'd want that call on the other end, as Fitz likes to point out so much. And then Durant ISO'd baseline, rip through move, and he just loses it. And we've just seen him do that way too many times down the stretch of games. Let's just keep it a buck. And it usually happens on the sideline, right? When he's at the top of the paint, it's not so common. Steph taking his time. Now he's hit 2 in a series of 30 seconds. You might want to call a timeout when the chef heats up. So here we go. It's crunch time. Towns, Draymond, what's he going to do? Make a big play. But watch KD try to draw contact so then he can't elevate with that big stride. It allows Towns to catch up, chase down, block. So here we go, and you learn a little philosophy from young Ryan Saunders, because Wiggins had been the hot hand, but Towns probably the better matchup, and Draymond makes him pay for it. Wraps him up and draws the foul. Only problem is now you've got Draymond on the line with the game on the line, and he knocks 1 of 2 down to tie the game and hits him with a little McGregor swagger at the end of that thing. Here we go. 115, 115. The inbounds. Do they get it to Towns? No, Wiggins launches. Loves that 3 ball. Gets a second chance at it. Clay, secure the ball game. We're going to overtime. But take a look at these Warriors. Take a look at them walking to the bench. Does it look like they want to play any more basketball? Doesn't look like it to me. It looks like they want to hop on a plane. So after they had tried to ride the hot hand that was Andrew Wiggins, they go to their franchise player in Towns one-on-one with Draymond. And this is just a great second and third effort from the biggest player on the floor. And this is the effort and aggression that Towns had been lacking previously in his career that we're starting to see. KD ISO'd, drops it, bucket for bucket, we're tied still. Live with emotions, it's always tough. But if you go back and watch these drives from Durant in overtime, watch Towns go straight up, Tolliver straight up. KD initiated the contact. I'm fine with the no call, but the problem was he doesn't get up and get back in transition, and Tolliver does what he does and knocks the 3 ball down. And then I'm not even going to front. This was my favorite part of the game, even though it was a non-Warrior highlight. Watch Karl Anthony Towns give Draymond the Draymond treatment. The levels of disrespect on Draymond's 3 reach a new level. Steph can't knock it down. With Teague and Rose out, it was Jared Bayless. The new duo with him and Towns is like pinky in the brain. But Bayless had himself a night, man. He was effective all night, knocking down the big 3. Remember him years and years ago at U of A, was a top 3 pick. And they talked about it all night. Minnesota, how well they hit the offensive glass. And with no true big out there, you know KD ain't boxing out. Towns just gives him the little nudge. Easily could have been called, but if KD makes more of an effort to box out, maybe they make the call. And then Durant going to the cup. And once again, I don't really see where the foul is, y'all. I have to be a buck with you. I mean, you could call, maybe he's complaining because of the touch fouls on the other end, but he stays down. And then Okogie hits the biggest shot of the night, what looked like was going to be the dagger, right? But like someone told me last week with Steph Curry, anything is possible. High pick and roll, he knocks down the 3. The defense would tighten up, but would they have enough offensively to dig out of it? Trying to draw the foul, so here goes Steph pushing the ball. No time to waste out in transition. The leaner, he gets it to go. Looked like Okogie may have chipped him up from behind, but you know we ain't getting no calls on this night. So Minnesota goes to the line and stretches the lead, misses 1 free throw. Steph trying to hit another one, and it's Draymond hitting the offensive glass, the tip back, and it remains a 1-possession game with 12 seconds to go. And here we go, y'all. This is the play. Watch. Durant is in the shooting motion on the catch because he jumps to the catch and shoots. The shooting motion begins on the catch. Whoop, he's shooting. And you see the player pull his hands away, lets you know there was never even intention to foul. It's not like he was trying to grab him. So it's just a terrible call. This was the worst call of the night. Obviously, it would have been a 4-point opportunity and a chance to win the game. Apparently, you see that vampire-looking motherfucking referee. We have lost 4 of the last games that he's refereed against us. So it is what it is. I had brought this up, that this could be a problem heading into the playoffs, and some of the way these games have been refereed has been alarming. So here we go. The opportunity, Steph Curry bails us out again, man. And it's amazing that they didn't try to foul. That lets you know, right, that they weren't trying to foul. So that's what he's yelling at the ref. I told you they weren't trying to foul. The entire Warrior team taunting the referees. To be honest with you, they could have been teed up for that. That was a bit over the top. So here's the inbound, 0.5. Look at Draymond. Draymond's telling KD right now, hey, we're switching. We're switching this. So KD's like, okay, here we go. Now I'm going to hold it here. KD's already fucked up. Where do you think Towns is going? He's got to be in the paint. He's got to deny the roll to the rim with 0.5. He doesn't. He has to hold him on the waist. That's a foul. I know y'all may not want to hear it, and it may not be called very often, but KD was out of position. You know you're switching. 0.5 on the clock with the 7-footer. What do you think he's doing? It's a roll to the rim. So that's on Durant. Towns finishes it up, man. And look, did they get robbed? I don't know. It was entertaining back and forth. I don't think they necessarily deserved the game because of some of the lapses they had throughout. But you hate to see it being taken away from the referees. But big picture moving forward, they need to show some finesse towards the referees. They need to somehow clean the slate moving into the playoffs. And now, back tied with the Nuggets, this just adds to the intensity of that Tuesday meeting, which I'll be watching live with y'all. But maybe, hey, I'll spin this a little positive. Maybe they can clear the air and draw attention to the refereeing towards them before the playoffs start. I'm out, y'all.
So long as like